Hello and welcome back to Goals Galore and welcome to another video on the channel. Today we are having a look at the Championship relegation battle because it's going to go down right to the wire this season. It's so close with just 10 points separating 12th to 23rd in the Championship season. I thought what better than to have a look at all the possible outcomes for this season. If you do go on to enjoy the video, as always, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. And also, let me know which three teams you think are going to go down this season. We're going to begin by having a look at the Championship table because it is so close. I may as well just show you. So, of course, at the bottom, 24th, we have Rotherham, 20 points. It is almost mathematically confirmed that they are relegated. I think it can happen on Easter Monday. For them to survive, they have to win every game left of the season or later them. That is 24 points. That's 44 points. And, you know, you look at Wednesday, 38 points. That's just 2 wins for them. That's 44 points. And, yeah, they can't survive anymore then because Rotherham then, I can't see them winning one more game, to be honest, between now and the end of the season. So their fate is all but sealed very soon. Of course, with that maths, Sheffield Wednesday would actually have to win another one or just draw one more, and Rotherham would just have to drop one single point for them to go down at that point, and all the teams above Sheffield Wednesday to get more than 44, of course. But I can't see Rotherham getting anywhere near that anyway, so let's not do if buts and maybes at this point. Moving on to 23rd, Sheffield Wednesday. They were down and out at the start of the season, but since Danny Rowles come in, he has really reignited that squad. January was a good month as well, and recently they've been picking it up. However, last time out against Ipswich, they did lose 6-0, so that really could hammer their confidence. But still, looking at Sheffield Wednesday this season, there's a real possibility now that the Great Escape could be on and they could survive. 22nd, it's Huddersfield, and I really do think that they could be in a bit of trouble. They were reluctant to sack Darren Moore this season. They kept him for way too long, and that ultimately could cost them come the end of the season. Now, of course, last year, the year before, it seems every single year, Huddersfield are involved in either the playoffs or a relegation battle. And more often than not, it is a relegation battle. And this season, it could be their time for their fate to be sealed, and they won't get lucky. But the same could be said for 21st place, Birmingham City. They are on the same points as Huddersfield Town, 39. Just 2 goals separate the two sides. But this year, it could be very interesting to see who goes down out of them two. If not, both of them. Just 1 point ahead of them is QPR, and under Cifuentes, they have looked a different side defensively. They really have shored that up this season. Well, since Cifuentes entered the building. And now they're starting to get a few results. You know, looking at their last 5 results, they've got 2 wins, 2 draws, 1 defeat in there, and they're sat 20th in the table. I think that just shows how competitive the league is this season and how close it's going to be come the end of the season. In 19th, of course, Stoke City, just another point above QPR. They've won 2 of the last 5, Stoke, but the other 3 have been defeats this season. They've not drawn many games this year. It's either been win or lose for Stoke, and that could cost them come the end of the season. On the same amount of points as them are Plymouth Argyle. Now, they're always going to struggle, but since Stephen Schumacher left them around January time, it really has hurt them. Ian Foster just hasn't really hit the ground running there at Plymouth, and it could cost them, but they've got some really talented players such as Morgan Whittaker, who, you know, moments of magic. They can pop up at any moment and just change a game, turn it on its head. Plymouth, what I would say for them is they have been competitive in almost every single game they've played this season. I don't remember them getting, you know, smashed out the park in any game so far this season. They probably have, just off the top of my memory. Nothing's coming to mind. But for Plymouth, they have a strong team. It's just if they can get over the line. In 17th is Blackburn Rovers, and since John Eustace has come in, they've got some results, but haven't been the results they needed. It's draw-happy Blackburn Rovers at the moment. Just a few wins can get them out of trouble, but since John Eustace has come in, they really can't buy a win at the moment. In the last 5, they've drawn 4 and had 1 defeat, so it just you know, proves my point. They're not losing, but they're not winning. They're just drawing. And, you know, it's not going to keep them up on just draws. They do need to get a few wins between now and the end of the season. 16th place, it's Millwall on 43 points. And since Neil Harris has come in, he really has turned that side around. Millwall looking like a completely different team in the last few weeks. They got results against the likes of Southampton recently, which is incredible for them. And now they're just probably 3 wins away, I'd say, from surviving in the Championship this season. I haven't completely made my mind up on what I'd say is safe points tally this season, because quite frankly, anything can happen. But I have got a lot of interesting stats coming up for you in this video. 15th and upwards to 12th, I do think these sides will be safe. It's just worth including them because this is the Championship, and if I don't include them, it'll be my luck that one of these ends up getting sucked in and relegated with only 8 games to go. So Swansea, Bristol, Watford and Sunderland, out of those teams, the 2 teams I can see actually getting sucked in are the highest 2, Sunderland and Watford. Sunderland have been very shaky recently, and Watford have sacked Ishmael and Tom Cleverley now, who I have never seen him manage before. I don't think he has. So very risky, and 48 points may just be the saviour of that, because whether the bottom 3, the highest team in there, can get above 48 points, I'm unsure. So that could be Watford's saviour. If they need like one more win, I think they'll be fine. But Tom Cleverley, I don't know how he's going to go down. We'll have to wait and see. And then Bristol City and Swansea, I think we've both got enough to go over the line this season, survive. It's just at the moment, it looks a lot tighter than it should do. So now we're going to have a look at the run-ins for each and every side involved in this relegation battle, all the way up to Sunderland. So Rotherham United starting off with them. As I said, they probably have to win all of their games, but their games are away to Deepdale to face Preston, home games against Millwall and Plymouth, away to West Brom, Swansea, and then home to Birmingham before going back away to Bristol City and home on the final day to Cardiff. Out then games, of course, they need to win all of them, but realistically, I can see them winning maybe Plymouth home, maybe Birmingham home, Cardiff home, and maybe even Preston away if they really put their mind to it. And that's not even going to be enough. So Birmingham, I'd love for them to stay up, but they've just not been good enough this season. And I think that proves it, that they'd have to win all of their games just to stay up. And still, it's not even confirmed then. Currently in 23rd, it's Sheffield Wednesday. Let's have a look at their run-in. They host Swansea, away to Middlesbrough, away to QPR, home to Norwich, home to Stoke, away to Blackburn, home to West Brom, and away to Sunderland. Now, the bonus for Sheffield Wednesday at the moment is their home form recently really has taken off. So the likes of Swansea, Norwich, Stoke and West Brom, out of them games, probably can see Sheffield Wednesday beating Swansea potentially and Stoke. Away from home, big game against QPR, big game against Blackburn, and they probably could beat Sunderland and Middlesbrough because they haven't really got too much left to play for this season. So Sheffield Wednesday, I do think they have every chance of staying up. The likes of Norwich and West Brom, they really could decide the playoff race as well if they got something against either of them teams. But for me, I think Sheffield Wednesday will have enough to stay up, and that is a very decent run-in for them. Moving on, we go to 22nd side, Huddersfield Town. Their run-in consists of Coventry home, which is a pretty difficult game, that one. They need to win that one, I'd think. And then Stoke away is a massive game. They're very close to them in the table. Same with Millwall home, very close to them in the table. You look at it and think it's a winnable game. Preston away, you know, Preston high up in the table, but they're not the best team in the world. And Preston on their day can either be incredible or absolutely rubbish. And Huddersfield needing a win, I think they could definitely get something away at Deepdale. Same goes for the away game at Ashton Gate against Bristol City. I can't see them holding out too much against Huddersfield if they really go for it. Swansea home's an interesting one against my team, but I probably could see Huddersfield getting something away. At home against my team Swansea. And then Birmingham as well is a massive game where they probably have to win that one. Otherwise, if Birmingham win that one, probably sees them stay up. And then away to Ipswich, I can't see them getting anything against that one on the final day unless they're absolutely desperate and have to throw the kitchen sink at it. Overall, it's not the worst run-in, but it's just not the easiest. You look at the games against Birmingham, Swansea, Millwall at home, expect them to win probably 2 out of them 3 if they want to stay up. And then away from home, probably win 3 out of them, definitely 2 out of them 3 if they want to stay up as well. I can't see them getting anything against Ipswich though. 21st, it's Birmingham, and they go away to QPR, which is already a huge game for Birmingham, because at the moment they haven't really got enough points to survive. They need to get a few wins on the board, and looking at this run-in, they definitely can. They go away to QPR, home to Preston, which once again, if Birmingham show up, they can get a win there. Away to Leicester, I think that is easily brushed under the carpet. It's Leicester. They'll obviously have to have a go and make a good game out of it, but I can't see them getting anything away at the King Power. Home to Cardiff, home to Coventry, away to Rotherham, away to Huddersfield, and then home on the final day to Norwich. So equally, they have a big say on what happens in the playoff race against Coventry and Norwich. But looking at the winnable games for Birmingham, QPR, Preston, Cardiff, Rotherham and Huddersfield for me are the games that Birmingham should be targeting for wins. Draws probably against Preston, Coventry if they really put up a solid performance, and maybe even Norwich on the final day could be huge. Into 20th now, it's QPR, and under Cifuentes, as I mentioned, they have been a completely different side. And have a look at their run-in. Birmingham at home, Swansea away, Sheffield Wednesday home, Plymouth away. Just them 4 teams alone, if they win all 3 of them games, I think they're fine. All 4 of them games, sorry. Can't count. If they won all 4 of them games, I think they'd be fine. But still then after that, they go away to Hull and away to Coventry. 2 teams looking to secure a playoff place. They also have home games against Preston and Leeds. So the Leeds game, the Coventry game, the Hull game, I'd say a game's just to look past and then focus on the other 5. Birmingham, Sheffield Wednesday, Preston at home for QPR. And they have been good at home so far, QPR, this season under Cifuentes. So I think them 3 games really are winnable. And then away games to Swansea and Plymouth. I think if they get a draw against Swansea and a win away against Plymouth, not an easy place to go, but it definitely can happen because QPR, they have got quality on their side in that squad. So for me, QPR, that's a good run-in, and I think they will be fine this season. In 19th, it's Stoke, and their run-in is pretty tricky. They go away to Hull, home to Huddersfield, which is a massive game for both sides involved. Home to West Brom, who this season have been ridiculous and a solid playoff side. Away then to Swansea and Sheffield Wednesday, 2 games they can definitely target as wins. Home against Plymouth, that's a massive game. Because at that point in the season, I think both sides will be very close to the relegation zone still. Away to Southampton, home to Bristol City. For Stoke there, the winnable games for me definitely have to target Huddersfield, Swansea, Sheffield Wednesday, Plymouth and Bristol City as winnable games. I don't think they can get anything against Hull, West Brom or Southampton. However, stranger things have happened. For Stoke, it's not the hardest run of games. It's not the easiest. I have to wait and see what happens for Stoke. Into 18th, it's Plymouth, and they go away to Norwich, home to Bristol City, away to Rotherham, and then home games against QPR, against Leicester, away to Stoke and Millwall, and home to Hull. Now, looking at that, it's quite favourable. You know, you've got home games against QPR, Bristol City. That's 6 points I definitely think are available for Plymouth there. Home park this season, they have been very solid, and that's where a lot of their points have come from this season. Away from home, they tend to struggle, but even the game against Rotherham, that really should and has to be 3 points for Plymouth there. The other 2, if they can just draw them against Stoke and Millwall, because I can't see them getting anything against Norwich. So Stoke and Millwall are 2 games where I think they have to get draws in both of them, as well as beating Rotherham as well, and beating Bristol City and QPR at home, and I think then Plymouth will be okay. Into 17th now, we're having a look at Blackburn, the draw-happy team. At home, they face Ipswich before going away on Easter Monday to Sunderland, back home against Southampton, away to Bristol, away to Leeds, home against Sheffield Wednesday, home against Coventry, and finally on the final day of the season, away to Leicester. They cannot rely on them last 2 games needing something for me. I can't see them getting anything out of them. The games I can see them getting something out of are Sunderland, Bristol, Sheffield Wednesday. You know, they're playing the top 4 in the final 8, and then the other 4 games still made up with a team chasing the playoffs. So it's really, really difficult run in for Blackburn there. And if they need to stay up, they have to win against Sunderland, have to win against Bristol, have to win against Wednesday. And you'd probably say they have to win against one of the top 4 or Coventry, which is no easy ask, as all of them will be targeting something this season at the top end of the table. 16th place, it's Millwall, and they host West Brom before going away to 2 favourable fixtures in Yorkshire. It's, of course, Rotherham and Huddersfield before home games against Leicester, Cardiff, away to Sunderland, home against Plymouth, and away on the final day against Swansea. For me, Millwall at home, recently under Harris, they have been a different side. They can definitely beat Plymouth at home, definitely beat Cardiff at home, and on the travels, definitely beat Sunderland, Swansea, Rotherham and Huddersfield, I'd say, on their travels. If they really need the points, Millwall. We've seen what they can do this season. Of course, they've been rubbish for most of it, but when they've needed to get the points, they have. So Millwall, I think they will be fine. That is a very decent run-in, albeit some tricky games in there. But all it comes down to is who wants it most in those big 6-pointers against the likes of Plymouth and Huddersfield. 15th place, it's my team Swansea, and this is a very, very, very favourable run-in. The highest ranked team we face are Norwich, and, you know, I think that's very, very nice run-in for us. We go away to Sheffield Wednesday, which is not going to be an easy game for us, but I'd take a draw in that one. Then home against QPR, away to Middlesbrough, home against Stoke, home against Rotherham, away to Huddersfield, away to Norwich, and then home on the final day against Millwall. I do think Swans will be fine, even leaving my bias at the door. I think really we should be targeting wins. Definitely against Sheffield Wednesday, QPR, Stoke, Rotherham, Millwall and Huddersfield. And then the tricky games then, when anything can happen, are against Middlesbrough and Norwich. I think probably draw against Middlesbrough realistically and lose to Norwich, but definitely a very, very favourable fixture and run of games. However, on the flip side of that, if we lose to the teams that we should be winning against, we're easily sucked into the relegation battle. So we need to play it well and definitely get, I'd say, 2 wins before we can get over the line in this relegation battle. In 14th is Bristol City, and I do think they'll be fine, but, you know, we've just got to do it just in case the Robins get relegated. We can have a look at their final run-in. It's not too bad, to be fair. They start off with a home game against Leicester, and after that, then, it is pretty straightforward. Away to Plymouth, not an easy place to go, but definitely winnable for the Robins. Away to the Stainborough Light, yet again, not an easy place to go, but definitely get something there. And then it's home games against Blackburn and Huddersfield before going away to Carrow Road, home to Rotherham, and then away on the final day to Stoke. For me, the Robins, a win and a draw, I think would be fine for them, and I think they'll have no problem getting that. The win definitely against Rotherham, and then a draw against either Plymouth or Stoke, Sunderland, Blackburn or Huddersfield, I think will be very doable for the Robins. I think it'll be fine this season. Moving on to Watford in 13th. They have a very tough run-in. They play Leeds at home, West Brom away, Preston at home, Ipswich away, Southampton away, Hull at home, Sunderland at home and Middlesbrough away. That is very, very tricky for Watford. Under Tom Cleverley as well. No manager experience to my knowledge. And really, they can get sucked into a relegation battle here. I think the winnable games from them are, you know, you look at Preston, the Sunderland game, the Middlesbrough game, that's it. They face 3 of the top 4 and 4 of the top 5. You know, it's not easy at all. And even then, you've got the likes of Hull chasing a playoff place. So it's really not easy there for Watford. And I think if they don't get at least a win and a draw, they're in some big trouble there. And then finally, let's have a look at Sunderland. They should be fine, but just in case, we'll have a look at them. Away to Cardiff, home against Blackburn, home against Bristol City, 2 winnable games there, all 3 really winnable, and then 2 tricky away games to Ellen Road and the Hawthorns, and then home against Millwall, away to Watford, home to Sheffield Wednesday on the final day. Could be a really big game, that one. For Sunderland, for me, I think Cardiff, Blackburn, Bristol, definitely winnable games. Watford, Millwall and Sheffield Wednesday as well, winnable games. And I can see them picking up the points necessary for them to be okay this season. But it isn't an easy run in, all things considered. You know, Leeds, West Brom, still 2 very good sides. And there's still teams down and around the relegation zone, like Blackburn, like Sheffield Wednesday, like Millwall, who really need the points at the moment. So Sunderland, while it looks okay now, they could easily get dragged into it by the end of Easter weekend. So now we've had a look at the run-ins, let's have a look at the league positions to play. So if you haven't seen this table before, the higher the number, the better. The easier the run-in, the lower the number, the harder the run-in at the end of the season. So starting off with Sunderland in 12th, it's a very mixed and average run-in. They play some good teams, some tricky teams, but also some teams near the bottom of the table, and really they should be fine. Moving on to 13th, Watford, it's a very, very tough run-in. 51 points, that means extremely tough. It's the toughest run-in in the Championship towards the end of the season, and you know, I really think they could be in some trouble this season, Watford. Sacked an inexperienced manager, appointed a new inexperienced manager just at the end of the season. However, what they have got on their side at the moment is points on the board, 48. I think a win and a draw, they should be fine. But at the moment, it's not good readings on paper for Watford fans. Moving on, Bristol City and Swansea have 2 of the easiest run-ins left in the season. In fact, Swansea have the easiest run-in on paper in the league. 140 there, which is a very easy run-in on paper. However, at the end of the season, nothing's ever easy and nothing is ever given to you. So still tricky, albeit 140 for the Swans, and Bristol City 120, still favourable and really should go over the line in safety. Millwall and Blackburn are fairly similar on their points. Blackburn with a tougher run-in though, Millwall with a pretty average run-in, playing some teams at the top end and the bottom end of the Championship. As for Blackburn though, really tricky. Not as tricky as Watford's. If it was, I'd really be concerned for them. But not far off at the same time. Plymouth and Stoke have exactly the same difficulty of run-ins, both matching at 108 points each. So it's going to be really intriguing to see if they can finish well this season, Stoke and Plymouth, or if one of them ends up being dragged into the bottom 3. Same could be said for QPR and Birmingham, both on 102, so both equally have as tough a run-in on paper. However, I'd say that QPR are a better side than Birmingham at this moment in the season. And then looking at the current bottom 3, Rotherham 109 run-in. It is on paper a good run-in. However, they've not been good enough and I can't see them surviving. Sheffield Wednesday 104, very similar to Huddersfield's 105. And you know what? I can see both of them potentially getting out of trouble. It's just the teams above them also have decent run-ins. It's just if they can catch the likes of Blackburn and Watford, who have tricky run-ins towards now and the end of the season. If we took the reverse fixtures from the 8 games these teams have left to play this season, this is how the Championship table would form up. So Sunderland would remain in 12th. Swansea would rise up to 13th in the table on 61 points. Bristol City would remain 14th. And in 15th, Watford would slide down to there. 16th place would be for Plymouth Argyle. They'll get over the line, as well as Millwall, QPR and Sheffield Wednesday, boost themselves up all the way to 19th, while Birmingham move up 1 place and Stoke move down 2 places. And then the bottom 3 is made up of Huddersfield, Blackburn and Rotherham, which just shows how poor Blackburn have been this season and how Darren Moore at Huddersfield really can cost Huddersfield this season if they end up going down. If we have a look at the team's points per game so far this season and calculate it over the last 8 games as well, so over a full 46 game period, this is how the table will end. So Rotherham would only gain an extra 4 points towards now and the end of the season, while Sheffield Wednesday would still be going down with 46 points, and 47 points Wouldn't be enough for Huddersfield, but it would be enough for Birmingham on goal difference. And then 48 would see QPR survive, and 49 for Stoke, Plymouth. 50 points for Blackburn. That is very generous, and be very interested to see if they can get anywhere near that this season in the run-in. Millwall, Swansea, Bristol, Watford and Sunderland all staying in the same order towards the end of the season, if of course this was to happen. Now the final stat we're going to have a look at this relegation battle is the 2024 points per game. So this is from the turn of the year, how many points per games these sides have had, and if they continued it through the last 8 games, how many points they'd end on. So Rotherham would only end on 21 points, while Birmingham would finish on 45 in 23rd. Huddersfield 47. We've seen that on this one and on the last one, so it seems quite popular for Huddersfield to finish in that last relegation place. Well, Blackburn would survive on the skin of their teeth on 48 points. That also was the same in the last points per game table we'd had to look at. 48 points seems to be the number this season which could keep you up. Sheffield Wednesday would rise to 20th in 2024. They have been very, very good. Over a full season, they'd be nowhere near the bottom 3. Stoke as well on 49 points, as well as Plymouth. They'd all be fine. And moving up the table, QPR, Millwall, Bristol, Sunderland, all remaining in a similar place, although Sunderland dropped down a little bit. Swansea rise a few places, and Watford actually rise to 12th as well, which would be very interesting to see if they could this season. Well then guys, that is the Championship relegation battle broken down. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. I know it's a fairly long video, this one, but it's definitely worth it. It's one I think I've had to do. If you aren't already, check out my videos on the Championship top 2 and the Championship playoff race. They're both very exciting this season. Has to be one of the best Championship seasons we've had in quite a while, of how competitive it is with only 8 games left to go. I'll be letting you guys know my final Championship table predictions in the next few days, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And if you've enjoyed this video, as always, be sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one very soon, guys. Take care. Goodbye.